Hello. Hello, my wonderful minions. Welcome to the final night of Tsukihime, a visual novel I have quite enjoyed so far. Despite some of its shortcomings, I've enjoyed it. There's definitely shortcomings. But it's been quite an enjoyable ride. How do I put this? There's definitely parts I enjoy as a story, but there's also parts where it's like, I want to put you under a microscope and dissect you to see how you work and why you are like this. Maybe that's just a feeling Nasu's writing inspires in others. I don't know. It's hard to say. But I do think it's been a very fascinating journey through this visual novel. So, what are we doing tonight, you might be asking, if we've already gone through all the main routes? Arcwood, CL, Akia, Kohaku, and Hisui. Well, there is one more extra ending. As CL Sensei told us last time, that we can only unlock after seeing every ending. That includes the good endings and the true endings. So, what I've done is I've created save slots for each of the choices that would lead us to the good ending. So you don't just have to watch me skip scenes for hours on end. So this one shouldn't be too long since we're just going to look at the good endings to unlock the true... I don't know if you'd call what is coming a true ending? CL Sensei explained it more like it is... We've had an ending for every character but Shiki himself. So that'll be... I guess you can call it the Shiki ending. There's only 4 here because Kohaku only has her true ending. There isn't an alternate good ending for her. So yeah, let's dig in. And also we saw CL's good ending as well. So we're going to start with Arcwood's. And so, choice 1, I will keep my promise, takes us to the true ending. So, choice 2, I will never forget Arcwood, takes us to the good ending. I start walking from the mansion atop the hill towards school. And for context, because it's been so long since we read Arcwood's route, this is after Arcwood sort of sacrifices herself. She got hurt really bad by Roa and basically died. Like any other day, the morning is wrapped in tranquility. Autumn is almost over, and winter is close by. Perhaps when this vague season in between the heat of summer and the chill of winter changes, maybe this transparent feeling will also change. I see more figures of students in uniforms the closer I get to school. Today is Saturday, so most of them are smiling as they walk along the road. Once I pass this intersection, I'll reach the front gate. It will soon be a month since I came back to the Tono mansion. I've already become well used to this route by now. The traffic light turns red, and I stand in front of the crosswalk. Every time I stop here, I remember. That one time, at this intersection, Arcwood was waiting for Tono Shiki back then as she sat on the guardrail, just like she is doing now. Huh? I say without even thinking. Between the cars rushing by, a scene unfolds just like before. What? She's there. Dressed in white with golden hair down to her shoulders. Long, slender eyebrows over crimson eyes. Her figure I could never mistake for anyone else, no matter what. This figure that has already vanished long ago. The light turns green. The students around me start moving. In the midst of it, I am the only one who stands still, and she is the only one who notices I am here. She has her typical smile as she crosses the intersection. I can't speak. I'm so overwhelmed with emotion I don't even know what to do. Even if this is just some sort of bad illusion, I'm so happy just to see her again I could cry. Hello, are you heading to school, student-san? I can't believe it. The illusion even has her own voice down perfectly. Shiki, hey, why are you so quiet? Don't tell me you forgot about me. Those red eyes look up at me. There's no way I could forget. But at the same time, there's no way she can be here alive. I can't speak. She wrinkles her eyebrows together and glares at me like an angry cat. Geez, what gives? I put up with not going to see you and was waiting here for so long. Don't tell me you're angry, Shiki? I just can't believe it. This isn't an illusion in front of me. It really is... Arquid? Yes, it's me. Thank goodness. I thought you became a vegetable after fighting Roa. I really was worried, you know. Wait a minute. I'm so confused. What do I say? What should I be happy about? Is there something I need to do? I really am just so overwhelmed, I don't know. Shiki, hey, you're acting funny. Your mouth is wide open and so are your eyes. Well, it's kind of interesting for me, so I'll keep watching. Arquid? That's what I mean. Jeez, you keep just saying my name. We finally managed to meet again, so can't you find anything more fitting to say? Yeah, there's no mistake. There's only one person who could say such ridiculous things. Why? I can't hear you. Please say it a little louder. She tells me, come on, as she points her ear closer to me. Why are you still alive? I scream and voice my feelings as loud as I can. Oh, not so loud, Shiki. You don't say not so loud. Why are you alive? I thought you were gone, that I would never see you, that I would always regret it. But why? This cheerfully, as if we only said goodbye yesterday. How can she greet me so simply? Oh, I see. I never did tell you, Shiki. Arquid drops a fist to her other hand in realization. Yeah, I never did tell you my reason for pursuing Roa. He stole some of my power. In order to take it back, I persuaded him, but you completely destroyed him, right? And the power that was freed from Roa returned to me, and I managed to come back to life. You never told me about that. Oh yeah, we only learn about that in CL's route. That's funny. No, I didn't. It didn't really concern you. Why did... Anyway, I revived, but I could barely resist the vampire impulse inside of me. I probably would have done something terrible if I went to see you, so I slept until I regained my power. Because of that, I was able to return to normal, but it took 7 days to suppress my impulse. Then you're really okay now, Arquid? Of course! If I wasn't, I wouldn't be here. She flashes me a full smile. Arquid takes my hand. You know, Shiki, while I was asleep, I was really looking forward to meeting again like this. Because once I did, we could go around and do so many things. I was thinking it would be so nice to get better even just a little quicker. Arquid looks at me with a pure, unadulterated smile. I'm speechless. Not in a bad way, I'm just so happy. Being able to see her smile again, all the things we can do from now on. How I told Senpai that my wish was never to leave Arquid alone again. Not one of them was lost. There's so many things I want to say and tell her right now. But right now, I'll just speak honestly from the heart. Welcome back. I've been waiting for a long time. I squeeze her hand in return and briefly tell her just that. She looks a little bewildered at first. Yeah? Saying that, she looks away in embarrassment. Arquid? I call out to her. After a brief pause, she faces me with a full smile. Yes, I'm back. I'm glad you were still yourself, Shiki. My chest tightens. If this wasn't right on the way to school, I would embrace and kiss her. Her smile is just so adorable. Alright, let's go, Shiki. You're going to take me to many places, right? Arquid releases my hand and jumps like a rabbit. She's so radiant, I can barely look at her directly. Oh, a rabbit. How cute. But, where? Anywhere. Somewhere you think is fun, Shiki. Yes, she is bunny. She has been compared to a cat. She's been compared to a rabbit. Arquid is so many animals, I suppose. Smiling, Arquid replies like it's nothing. But that's a little troubling. You know, I do have school. Hey, can't you at least spend a day with me today? Arquid looks dissatisfied. Evidently, I'm extremely weak against that face of hers. Well, even if I went to school like this, I wouldn't be able to concentrate there, and more than anything else, I want to be with Arquid. You're right. Who cares about boring reputation? Okay, Arquid, I will indulge your selfishness for the day, my princess. Yay! She's funny. She's so quirky, I missed her. Bump, she suddenly presses her body up against mine. Hey, Shiki, that night, what were you talking about with CL? Your feelings haven't changed? She looks up imploringly at me as she asks. The CG is also very cute. My feelings that night? What do you mean? About you saying you loved me? I start to splutter. It's too embarrassing for her to ask me this question when she's this close to me. Oh, I forgot. You shouldn't eavesdrop, Arquid. I can't help it if I overheard. Anyway, come on, answer me. Your words that night, they haven't changed? Idiot. I don't even need to say that. Yeah, they haven't changed. I can't make any guarantees, but they'll probably never change. I would absolutely skip school for Arquid, are you kidding me? School is for losers. Vampire girls are way more important. I'm so embarrassed I look up at the sky and answer. Arquid wraps her arms around mine. Oh, then you should prepare yourself, Shiki. Prepare? Prepare for what? I can't help but let a tinge of uneasiness creep in my voice. She holds onto my arms and speaks with a smile. Because you promised to be with me forever. Didn't I say so when we first met? I'll have you take responsibility for me. Then she starts to walk, still holding onto my arm. She's as energetic as a little child, urging me to hurry up to get to a playground. Oh, I see. Hi, Swan. Certainly, I would have to prepare. Speaking to no one in particular, I start to walk with her. I head towards some random place, going against the flow of students going to school. Where to? Well, there's no place we can't go. The sunlight really suits this princess of the moon accompanying me. The weather is a perfect blue sky. Hand in hand, we walk towards a new beginning for the two of us. So I've noticed, because we've seen CL and Arquid's good endings now, I noticed that, there's obviously a very reason they're called, there's true ending and good ending. True ending is a little more, the true endings are all very more bittersweet. Whereas, good ending is this is the good ending, but it's not, it's too good to be true, right? Arquid's true ending has a very bittersweet tone to it, where she has to, leave forever. Whereas all the good endings are more wish fulfillment. Oh, Magane mode, if you insist. There we go. For the reading. It's very cute though. I like the thruple one with CL's good ending. Yeah, I think, the expectation that at least my expectation that exists for visual novels is that there's good ending and bad ending. But this is interesting how the true ending is more real, I guess you could say, because not everything works out purposefully, or not purposefully, perfectly. Not everything works out perfectly in the true endings. They feel more grounded. Will I be reading Kagetsu Toya after finishing Tsukihime? Not right away. Maybe sometime. I don't know how long it is. If it's as long as this, definitely not right away. Let's take CL Sensei's lesson. You have reached Arquid's good ending. Well done. Each heroine, with one exception, has two different kinds of endings, a true ending and a good ending. After reaching one of the endings, please go back a little and re-advance through the story. A different event should await you. Oh, and another thing. If you have save data where you cleared at least one heroine, it may be a good idea to restart from the first day. You may have more choices than before. That's hinting at the far side routes. You need to clear it one route, either CL or Arcwood, to unlock the far side ones. Well then, thank you very much for playing up to this point. Let's meet again somewhere in Tsukihime. Alright, so that was one. Got Moon at Night, Moon at Dawn, Arcwood's good ending. So we have Arcwood, CL. So we just need to do Akia and Hisui's. So Akia has has a weird one where she has 2 points where you can get a good ending. I don't know if they're different in any way, but I made 2 save slots for them just in case. So we'll see. So chase after Akia. This would lead to her true ending. So we got to go with. Wait, is it? It's that. Yes, it is. I can't do it. There's no way I can do that. Akia didn't do anything wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. So why does she have to end like this? Right. Akia has gone all Monster Mash. She's violent Akia. The sound of my knife dropping. My arm has lost all strength without me knowing it. Shiki's like, I gotta mercy kill her, but in the good ending, I guess you don't do that. The knife that fell out of my hand sticks in the tatami floor. The room is drenched in blood. No, he's not sicko mode. He is specifically exiting sicko mode. We've already killed all Cap Shiki at this point. The room I was living in when I was still Nanaya Shiki a long time ago. The room she came to see me in so many times when my old man wasn't looking. Just a day ago. Boo! We felt everything about each other here. Had Akia already accepted this outcome back then? All I could do was refuse. Even though Akia told me everything, I tried to push it away. I didn't want to accept those facts, and vaguely I was wishing it wouldn't happen. That is my crime. Among the, the incest. That's also a crime. I told Akia I loved her, yet I couldn't protect her. Aki, huh? I have to compensate for the crime I've committed. I can only protect Akia from now on, no matter what happens. Even if Akia has become a creature that only kills people, and even if she could only recognize me as another creature. The creature is demonic in nature. Starting now, probably until I die, I will live for Akia and tie her to this world. That is the way to end the show for Tonoshiki, who could not save anything. Distant Reed Warbler, an epilogue. Oh, this one actually gets an epilogue. Interesting. I open my eyes. Endless blue soaks my sleepy mind. Slightly warm sunlight and a slightly cool breeze. A world with only the smell of grass and the sound of trees. It might be that this mansion's forest is in a different season. It's almost winter, but this place still feels like autumn. I look up at the blue sky as I lie on the ground. The sun is already way up in the sky. I guess I fell asleep. I guess it was my fault for lying down here on the grass after breakfast. Well, I didn't have anything to do anyway. Doing this here, falling asleep deeply, even forgetting my name can't be that bad. Bottomless blue. The clean sky is far away. Thinking like a child, I keep on watching the sky. A far sky like in a dream. The view is so beautiful I can't even let out a sigh of amazement. Not blood related, so it's fine. I don't know about that. I don't think it's fine. Shiki-sama? Are you over there, Shiki-sama? I hear Hisui's voice from the courtyard. It's that time already. I guess I fell asleep again. If I forgot time while watching this blue sky, it makes no difference if I was sleeping or not. Hisui arrives, composed. Shiki-sama, Akia-sama is calling you. Alright, I guess I was asleep. Sorry for being so troublesome, Hisui. Not at all. It is nothing of the sort. Hisui looks down as if she wants to say something. I know what Hisui wants to say, but even if she did, I wouldn't be able to give her an answer. I'll get going. Can you tell Kohaku-san in about an hour or so? Ah, I turn my back to Hisui and head to the detached building where Akia is waiting. In the room lives a girl. No, the term lives is not right. The girl cannot move of her own will. She only moves as a living thing when she eats, and she just sits there like a statue when she isn't. So instead of live, exists is a more correct term, since she is more like a doll. Well, this isn't a good ending at all. I'm sorry, Akia. I fell asleep and couldn't make it in time. I enter the room and close the shoji. Akia sits there and does not move. Whoa, your hair is messed up. Looks like you haven't changed yet either. Didn't Kohaku-san come by this morning? Akia does not say anything. She looks in my direction with a blank stare. No, it just seems like she's looking. Alright, let's at least make your hair look good. I touch Akia's hair. She makes no motion to fight it. Quietly, as softly as I can, I let my hands go through her hair. Her long hair flows in my hand. Akia does not say anything. After some time like that, Akia suddenly moves her arm. Akia? There's no answer. She just takes my arm and brings it to her mouth. After a hard sensation, Akia bites on my arm and starts to suck out my blood expressionlessly. Her white throat gulps down my blood. The blood that spills out of her mouth drips down her throat and stains her kimono red. I grit my teeth and hold on until Akia is full. There is no proper quantity for Akia. She stops only when she's full, and I can't predict when that is. So all I can do is wait like this for her to be full. I feel dizzy, but I don't pull back. Hisui was against this until the very last minute. I decided to give Akia my own blood ever since she could only take in human blood. It wasn't a sense of responsibility. If Akia could only survive by taking in blood, I wanted to limit the amount of victims, and most of all, I did not want Akia to drink anyone's blood except mine. That's weird! I guess Akia really likes my blood. She has never gone outside since then. But it is really dangerous for my body. I do not have much blood to start with, and I am not healthy enough to keep feeding Akia blood. I faint most of the time when I come here once a day to feed her. Although I'm getting blood from transfusion, it takes my body a while to get used to other people's blood. My body is getting weaker by the day. I guess the reason for Hisui trying to say something every time she sees my face is to tell me I should care more about myself. But such a thing, it's many times easier since I can feel the pain, unlike Akia. Akia lowers her arm. I guess she's happy now as she lets go of my arm. Then she goes back to being a doll once more. I clean the dripping blood off her face and change her dirty kimono. Akia does not fight back. She just accepts everything I do. There, Akia's proud look is nowhere to be seen. I'd be lying if I said this isn't hard on me. But still, my feelings of happiness is greater. Akia is alive. She is alive and she is here right now. Then, someday, Akia might return to the Akia she once was. If you say so, bud. Alright. See you, Akia. I'll come back tomorrow, so listen to Kohaku-san at night. I say the same phrase as yesterday, no, the same phrase as always, as I hold Akia's hands. Slender fingers, small hands. I cover them with mine. The warmth, the fact that she is alive. It almost makes me cry. I suppress that feeling and smile. I want to laugh so that I won't have room for any sadness. It's easy to feel sad about the situation I'm in. Even if Akia doesn't understand, I have to keep on smiling in front of her. One day, if Akia ever finds herself again, I don't want her to remember how I was sad. I want her to think that this was nothing, that this was one of those happy times too. So I have to keep on smiling, even if Akia doesn't understand right now, so that Akia wouldn't regret the past when she finds herself again. I keep on waiting, holding her hands. Even if Akia's eyes are not staring at anything, I will keep smiling until the end of the world. So that one day, when Akia wakes up, I will be able to greet her like it was another normal day and say hi. Well, that's that ending. That wasn't a good ending at all. Maybe that's like this, like the root guide I had listed this as a normal ending because there's like another point where you can get a good ending with Aki, and I wasn't sure if it was different or not. I was just like, hey, it's kind of weird that you can get the ending at this point too. We'll see. I made another save slot there, so we can investigate. As soon as these credits are over. Does Seal have anything special to say about this? You have reached Akia's, yeah, it's called the normal ending. Normal as in, like, it's not even a good ending. You have reached Akia's normal ending. Well done. Each heroine, with one exception, has two different kinds of endings. Usually they are called true ending and good ending, but Akiya-sans are called normal ending and true ending. She's so normal, hate her. Akiya-san's route is different from everyone else's in that how much Akiya-san likes you does not determine which ending you receive. It also differs from all other routes in that it has an extra normal ending, which is what you are reading right now. While this ending is called Akia's normal ending, it will not register as an ending in the game. Nya? What is this? You're talking nonsense. Take it up with the game designers if you must. Tono-kun, please proceed to play through Akiya-san's route to reach her real normal ending. It's been a while since we've seen Neko arc. Not even Neko arc, it's just Scrimblow arc. She doesn't have the ears and tail. She's not Neko yet. Well, thank you very much for playing up to this point. Let's meet again somewhere in Tsukihime. Alright, so that was the normal ending. Like she said, it doesn't register as a separate ending, it's just... yeah. So let's load that other ending. Let's see, it's the third one, okay. So give back Akiya this life is the true ending. And I can't do that, I think. Or wait, no, sorry. I can't do that is the true ending because, no, wait, this is the... I'm sorry, I'm getting them confused. Give Akiya back this life. Shiki kills himself in the true ending. Maybe. Where Aki's like, I don't know, maybe... Because, like, in the true ending, the narration switches to Aki's point of view because Shiki is allegedly dead. Wrong. Yes, it's probably wrong. It's alright if I can really save Akiya by dying, but there's no proof of that, and besides, I don't think death can be a way to save someone. Even if Akiya is saved by my death, how would she feel afterwards? Yeah, and Hisui, also in the true ending, refuses to believe Shiki is dead. So both Hisui and Aki are, like, convinced he's alive somewhere. It's fine if she only feels sad about it, but it's wrong if she should feel guilty for the rest of her life. I thought the perspective switch in Akia's true ending was like my favorite part of that route. I thought it was really interesting to actually get in her headspace for once because she's so horrible all the time. I don't think that choosing death is neither courageous nor honorable. I think that's just a way to run away from reality. Akiya isn't like the Akiya before. She has become a creature that just kills others. But still, I want her to live. If I bear everything for Akiya, who can't feel crime or punishment, I want to believe that Akiya can live. One day. I don't think she'll turn back one day. But to keep my belief in her is the last role for me, as I could not keep her promise. Akiya, even if you're like this forever. I kneel and scoop up Akiya's red hair. Just being able to be with you. That will be my greatest happiness. The autumn leaves fall. Autumn is ending. In this garden filled with many memories, I quietly kiss Akiya. A ritual with no meaning. I faintly see the future. This will be my last time touching Akiya as Tono Shiki. This one also gets an epilogue, Distant Reed Warbler. I open my eyes. Endless blue soaks my sleepy mind. Slightly warm sunlight and a slightly cool breeze. A world with only the smell of grass and the sound of trees. It might be that this mansion's forest is in a different season. It's almost winter, but this place still feels like autumn. I look up at the blue sky as I lie on the ground. The sun is already way up in the sky. I don't know how similar this is to the other normal ending. I guess I fell asleep. I guess it was my fault for lying down here on the grass coming after breakfast. Well, I didn't have anything to do anyway. Doing this here, falling asleep deeply, even forgetting my name can't be that bad. Bottomless blue. The clean sky is far away. Thinking like a child, I keep on watching the sky. A far sky like in a dream. The view is so beautiful, I even cannot let out a sigh of amazement. Oh, I think this part is new. Shiki-sama, are you over here, Shiki-sama? I hear Hisui's voice from the courtyard. It's that time already. I guess I fell asleep again. If I forgot time while watching this blue sky, it makes no difference if I was sleeping or not. Hisui arrives composed. Shiki-sama, Akiya-sama is calling you. Alright, I guess I was asleep. Sorry for being so troublesome, Hisui. Not at all, it is nothing of the sort. Hisui looks down as if she wants to say something. This seems mostly the same so far. I know what Hisui wants to say, but even if she did, I wouldn't be able to give her an answer. I'll get going. Can you tell Kohaku-san in about an hour or so? I turn my back to Hisui and head to the detached building where Akiya is waiting. In the room lives a girl. No, the term lives is not right. The girl cannot move of her own will. She only moves as a living thing when she eats, and she just sits there like a statue when she isn't. So instead of live, exists is a more correct term, since she is more like a doll. I'm sorry, Akiha. I fell asleep and couldn't make it in time. I enter the room and close the shoji. Akiya sits there and does not move. Whoa, your hair is messed up. It looks like you haven't changed yet either. Didn't Kohaku-san come by this morning? Akiya does not say anything. She looks in my direction with a blank stare. No, it just seems like she's looking. Alright, let's at least make your hair look good. I touch Akiya's hair. She makes no motion to fight it. Quietly, as softly as I can, I let my hands go through her hair. Her long hair floats in my hand. Akiya does not say anything. After some time like that, Akiya suddenly moves her arm. Akiya? There's no answer. She just takes my arm and takes it to her mouth. After a hard sensation, Akiya bites on my arm and starts to suck out my blood expressionlessly. Her white throat gulps down my blood. Yeah, this is pretty much the same. The blood which spills out of her mouth drips down her throat and stains her kimono red. Yeah, I grit my teeth and hold on until Akiya is full. There is no proper quantity for Akiya. She stops only when she's full, and I can't predict when that is. So all I can do is wait like this for her to be full. I feel dizzy. But I don't pull back. Hisui was against this until the very last minute. I decided to give Akiya my own blood ever since she could only take in human blood. It wasn't a sense of responsibility. If Akiya could only survive by taking in blood, I wanted to limit the amount of victims, and most of all, I didn't want Akiya to drink anyone's blood except mine. I guess Akiya really likes my blood. She has never gone outside since then. But it is really dangerous for my body too. I do not have much blood to start with, and I am not healthy enough to keep feeding Akiya blood. I faint most of the time when I come here once a day to feed Akiya. Although I'm getting blood from transfusion, it takes my body a while to get used to other people's blood. My body is getting weaker by the day. Yeah, this is the same. I guess the reason for Hisui trying to say something every time she sees my face is to tell me I should care more about myself. But such a thing, it's many times easier since I can feel the pain, unlike Akiya. Akiya lowers her arm. I guess she's happy now as she lets go of my arm. Then she goes back to being a doll once more. I clean the dripping blood off her face and change her dirty kimono. Akiya does not fight back. She just accepts everything I do. There, Akiya's proud look— oh, this part seems new. There, Akiya's proud look is nowhere to be seen. I'd be lying if I said this isn't hard on me. Yeah, this part is new. Okay, good. But still, my feeling of happiness is greater. Akia is alive. She's alive and she is here right now. Then, someday, Akia might return to the previous Akia she once was. Alright, see you, Akia. I'll come back tomorrow, so listen to Kohaku-san at night. I say the same phrase as yesterday. No, the same phrase as always as I hold Akia's hands. Okay, we're back to old stuff again. So it was just like a little bit of text that's different, unless I'm misremembering. Slender fingers, small hands. I cover them in my hands. The warmth. The fact that she is alive. It almost makes me cry. I suppress that feeling and smile. Ah! There was one exclamation point last time. I want to laugh so that I won't have room for any sadness. It's easy to feel sad about the situation I'm in. Even if Akia doesn't understand, I have to keep on smiling in front of her. One day, if Akia ever finds herself again, I don't want her to remember how I was sad. I want her to think that this was nothing, that this was one of the happy times, too. So I have to keep on laughing. Even if Akia doesn't understand right now, so that Akia wouldn't regret the past when she finds herself again. I keep on waiting, holding her hands. Even if Akia's eyes are not staring at anything, I will keep smiling until the end of the world. So that one day, when Akia wakes up, I would be able to greet her like it was another normal day and say hi. Yep, that's the end of that one. Okay, so it was like 98% the same. I guess that's why they call it the normal ending, because it's not good at all. Yeah, that's kind of a downer, huh? Everybody else has like a quirky, funny ending. Aki's is just a downer. Kind of a downer. I mean, yes, not unreasonably. Aki is kind of in a bad situation in that ending, so it's not really a way you can twist it into ending well outside of the true ending. Let's check out Hisui's. Alright, does Seal have anything different to say about this? No, it's the same. Okay. Okay, so one more. We just need Hisui's. Alright, so instead of calling out Akia's name, we need to call out Kohaku's name. Right? Because Shiki's like, this was all part of Kohaku's plan to get revenge against the Tono family. Is that she gets them all killed when fighting all-cap Shiki. Hee! Shiki lunges with a cry. His black shape explodes forward like a firework. I can't make it from here. If there's anything that would make it, that would be... Damn! Akia turns towards Shiki. Akia instantly prepares for his attack. But the black figure isn't going towards Akia. Shiki lunges not at Akia, but at Kohaku-san, who stands next to her. He knows. Just like I am able to move right now because of Hisui's power, he knows that Akia's overwhelming power is possible from Kohaku-san's help. Right, because of the synchronizer. Kohaku-san, get down! I shout. Like if I knew Shiki was going for Kohaku all along, I shout from the bottom of my lungs. Kohaku! Akia throws her body in front of Kohaku. I don't believe it. Is she sacrificing her body to protect Kohaku-san? Hee! Shiki raises his voice, and with his arm thrusting like a spear, aims for Kohaku's face. Akia forces herself in between them. Her timing is perfect. I don't want to look. I don't want to see Akia die as she protects Kohaku-san. No! Right before it all happens, I hear a voice which I've never heard before. Kohaku-san's crying voice. Yeah, he's going for the medic. The sound of rending flesh. Red blood drips down onto the hallway. Kohaku-san's voice almost sounds absent-minded. She has quickly pushed Akiya away. She pushed Akiya trying to protect her and threw herself in front of Shiki's claws. You... Shiki's voice quivers with anger. Red blood continues to flow forth. No, Akiya. I didn't mean to hurt you. He shakes his head. In front of Shiki, Akiya lies collapsed, her arm coated with blood. Thanks to Kohaku-san pushing her away, it seems only Akiya's arm was shredded by Shiki's claws. So in the true ending, Akiya does actually successfully jump in front of Shiki and dies. Lying on the ground, Akiya arrives in agony, clutching her arm. Shiki stands dumbstruck, shaking as he looks down. Kohaku-san, fixated with surprise, stands there unmoving like a doll. You bitch! Are you trying to get in my way? Shiki lifts his head. Kohaku-san is in front of him. Why is it? She's just standing there, not moving a muscle, as if her soul had fled her body. You also get in my way? Shiki howls. Shiki-sama. Hisui's pleading voice. She doesn't even have to tell me. Like Kohaku-san protecting Akiya, this time I'll stop him for sure. Shiki! I run, my glasses already off. The lines I see are across his neck and from his upper left chest to his stomach. Either one will do. If I work my knife through either one, it will surely kill him. Gripping my knife firmly, I fly down the hallway with a speed that surprises even myself. Watch out, he's gonna do the low-high mix-up special. Shiki turns towards me. But I'm much faster. His anguished cry reverberates through the hallway. An insane laugh. It was too shallow. How naive. Your blade did not cut deep enough. In front of Akiya, I hesitated in cutting her real brother's neck. The line that runs through his body. I was only able to cut it halfway. Laughing wildly, Shiki pulls back. Like that, he escapes towards the stairs. Following him would be easy, but there's something more important for me to do. Akiya! Hang in there, Akiya! Kneeling down, I look over her body. This is terrible. Her right arm is almost split in two and painted an awful crimson. Nisa, why are you here? Her eyes are hazy. Her shallow breathing, her pale face. The figure of death stretches across her body. Why aren't you resting in your room? Don't talk. We can talk about it later. For now, just don't talk. I won't. Nissan, how long have you been here? It's spreading. With her bleeding, her lines of death spread across her body. It's alright, just be quiet. Please, I beg of you, for now, just calm down, please. Okay, if you say so, then I will be obedient, Nissan. With a forced smile, Akiya closes her mouth. No, that... Simply put, she's so weak she can't even speak. No! Wait, I'll stop the bleeding. Taking off my shirt, I wrap it around her arm. Damn, this is useless. Shit! The bleeding doesn't stop, she'll die. Why doesn't... I frantically tie it around her arm. I know that it will not help her at all, but I can't think of anything else to do. I know that I'm starting to go crazy, but I still cannot calm myself. Shiki-sama, please calm down. If you tie it any tighter, it will not help her. Hisui, but... It is alright. Akiya-sama will not die. If Nei-san is here, Akiya-sama will heal. Nei-san, is that not right? Looking good, Kohaku. Hisui pulls Kohaku-san, who's still standing like a motionless doll, and sits her next to Akiya. Nei-san, for now, please synchronize with Akiya-sama. You destroyed everything because you wanted Akiya safe. Is that not right? Hisui wraps both of her hands around Kohaku-san's white hand, but Kohaku-san's gaze is still empty. But maybe Hisui's words reach her after all. Akiya's blood stops spilling forth. I relax. With this, I can be assured. The uneasiness that gripped me before, that uneasiness that Akia would meet the worst fate, starts to gradually disappear. Akia will be helped by Hisui and Kohaku-san. So, as Tonoshiki, I will have to end this. Hisui, I leave Akia and Kohaku-san up to you. Shiki-sama, you are still planning to go, are you not? We are the same type, he and I. The least I can do is put him to rest. Hisui wordlessly stares at me. Her eyes beg me not to go, but I can't listen to them. Thanks for everything up until now, Hisui. I'm so glad you were with me. I walk away. Feeling her watch me as I leave, I follow after Shiki. The path of blood continues. Maybe he didn't try to really escape, or maybe he isn't even sane enough to understand what running away means. Shiki is standing in the hallway as if waiting for me. Shiki! I call out. Shiki looks over at me with his unfocused eyes. Ha, you again? Shiki doesn't move. Probably because the wound's by me and Akia. He doesn't have a body that can move properly. Shit, I failed again. It won't work out right. Why is everything getting ruined? It won't work. It never works out right. I always mess up. That's strange. Why is she getting in my way? He came just like I was told, so why does he always get in my way? Shiki's eyes are just hollow orbs. Maybe he didn't even see anyone from the very beginning. He only sees me before him, holding my knife as just another obstacle. Shiki, are you in pain? In pain? Me? Why? Shiki laughs as if it is so funny and slowly stands up. I'm not in any pain. This is a wonderful life. No matter what I do, no one can punish me. Shiki's eyes burn with the desire to kill. It seems he's ready. Underneath the moonlight, even though I've known him for so long, I take my first step towards the enemy I just met tonight. Fine, let's fight to the death. All those who get in my way are my enemy. I'll kill you all. You, Akia, Kohaku. Just like that old man who wanted to lock me up till I died, I'll kill you all. Shiki screams like a raving lunatic. Maybe because that figure looks terribly pitiful. Even though this is a fight to the death, I remain cool and collected like ice. Shiki attacks me head on. It's nothing difficult. Like I'm cutting meat on a plate, I easily slice through Tonoshiki. Well, that didn't last long. Thud. Shiki's head... Wow, okay, that was fast. Shiki's head falls to the floor. His powerless body falls against mine. I don't feel anything. I don't feel regret, pain, hatred, or disgust. Like Kohaku-san was earlier, I just stand like a doll. An unbelievable laughing voice. Shiki's laughing head rolls on the ground. Yeah, he's like Carmine. I'm like 100% convinced now that whatever ideas French Bread had for all caps, Shiki just got shoved into Carmine in Undernight. You're wonderful. This is the first time I felt this cold pain. What a superb hinderer you are. Still laughing, his face dissolves into ash. Gradually, it disappears into the wind. Shiki is disappearing. Before he does, he looks up at me and curiously says, So who are you, anyway? Huh? Who are you? You don't know? I'm the Tonoshiki you were always targeting. Ah, I see. You're Shiki. His disappearing face. What's this? You look nothing like what I heard. With that, he completely disappears. What a layer of intrigue. How many Shikis in are we? It's over. With this, it's over. I don't feel anything. I won't feel those splitting headaches. I can return to life as normal, but I don't feel happy. And? Just what ended? Why? I feel dizzy. Shiki's last words won't fade away. Something did end, but I don't know what ended, or in the beginning, what I was trying to end. I look up at the moon. In the vague darkness, my heart is enthralled. Until Hisui came, I just stood in dumb amazement, standing in the moonlight. Dreams of Sunshine, an epilogue. The next week passed quickly. Shiki's body vanished without a trace, and the wound in Akia's arm was treated. Yeah, maybe they'll add all caps Shiki to Type Lumina, who knows? Even though my blood as Tono Shiki became vague, I can't go back to being Nanaya Shiki. I don't know if she understands my feelings or not about it, but Akiya hasn't said one word about that night. If Akiya, the head of the household, is going to play dumb, then I think I can continue my life as Tono Shiki. The peaceful days have returned. Since Shiki disappeared, all my strength returned and Akiya is healing well too. Kohaku-san and Hisui go back to their regular duties at the mansion and there isn't a trace of uneasiness. I want to believe that there isn't. Oh, is that the end of that? Oh, okay. No, I thought that was just the end. Nissan? It's noon already, Nissan. I hear a voice. Geez, even though it's so nice outside, please do not sleep in such a place. If you want to take a nap, so do so in your room. Fingers tap my shoulder. With that, I wake from my dream. Morning, Akiya. Don't say morning. Come to the sitting room only to sleep. Just what were you thinking, Nissan? Well, I was thinking about this and that. Giving a deep sigh, I get up from the sofa. Wait a minute, Nissan. Are you going to actually go sleep in your room? Hey, don't you think you should actually do something worthwhile on your day off? To give you examples, like going out to deepen bonds with family members, or invite them to have fun out of gratitude. I think she's dropping some hints. I think what Akiya says is worthwhile is very limited. That's great. That's a good one. I gotta screen cap that one. There we go. Well, I do think so. Fucking get her ass. It's just that what you think is worthwhile is different from what I think is worthwhile. Sleeping twice would just be a waste. The reason why I want to go to my room is simple. It takes a lot of effort to face you right after waking up, so I thought I'd refresh my head in my own room. Holy shit. Savage. Get her. What is that supposed to mean, Nissan? Nothing. I just can't answer to all your little scolding when my head's still dozy. So I'm just going to my territory to regroup, that's all. We can talk more during lunch. Waving, I turn away. Akiya watches me silently, but her face tells me she wants to complain. It looks like I'll have to be ready during lunchtime. I come to my room. While I was dozing in the sitting room, it looks like Hisui cleaned my room. But this is a really dull room if I have to say it myself. Other than a bed and a desk, the room is completely empty. It's close to winter, so I should probably get some heating equipment. Aki is pretty noisy about it, but I'd never feel like using the fireplace. Question mark? What's this on the desk? A letter I don't remember about is placed there. I'm curious, so I open it up. The letter just says, I am waiting underneath that tree. Why? Saying that, I crumple the paper. Opening the drawer, I put the knife with the engraving Nanatsu Yoru in my pocket. I can't pretend like I didn't see it. Taking a deep breath to compose myself, I leave my room. I don't know when I realized it. It all started when I thought that everything turned out pretty conveniently. The happenstances and circumstances surrounding the connection between Shiki and I were too convenient. Shiki had his lair at my school, but he never attacked me, his most hated enemy. If Shiki had ever felt like it, I probably would have been killed a long time ago. I could only think things ended this way because someone readied a convenient plot. Yep. Hi, Kohaku. When I get there, she is waiting with her usual smile. You're late, Shiki-san. I've been waiting since morning, but it's noon already. Yeah, sorry. I fell asleep in the sitting room and just got back to my room. Ah, I see. I messed up. I knew I should have told you directly. That may be true, I nod. She smiles at me. But it is good you came. Now we can talk, just the two of us. She smiles happily. With a smile on her face, she begins to speak like it's nothing. You realized it, didn't you, Shiki-san? I can't nod or shake my head. I knew it, she laughs. Shiki-san, I was the one who made Shiki-sama like that. I gave Akiya-sama my blood so that she would turn more into one of the Tono blood. But I was the one that gave Shiki-sama wrong information and made him attack innocent people. Ah, that's why he didn't go after Shiki right away. He didn't actually know what he looked like. Like he said, he wasn't how he was described to him. I didn't want her to say it. When we were small, the one who was always watching from the distance wasn't Hisui, it was me. Kohaku-san. Back then, I intentionally distracted Akiya-sama so that Shiki-sama could have an opening. Kohaku. But I really messed up. Akiya-sama and Shiki-sama were both supposed to die there. Kohaku! Looking down, all I could do is shout her name. It's fine. Shiki-san? It's fine. All of it is over, so I don't want to hear that kind of story. Those words are truly how I feel. Such a reality, it is better if I don't realize it. Kohaku-san can just be Kohaku-san. Always smiling, thinking of Hisui dearly, being such good friends with Akiya and laughing when we talk about stupid things. I wanted Kohaku-san to stay like that. I don't care about all that. You could just be here, and it'll be fine. She doesn't answer. A long, painful silence. No, that won't do, Shiki-san. What I did can't be ignored like that. I failed. I have lost the reason that moved me these past years, so this Kohaku will just disappear. What? I lift my head. Over there. She looks like she always does. But I thought you had the right to blame me. You're the only one who's not connected with the Tono house. I used you in my plot against Akiya-sama and Shiki-sama. So if you wish to blame me, you can do whatever you like. No one has the right to blame you, Kohaku-san. That's right. Ever since she was a small child and came to this mansion, she had to receive all the crimes of Tono Makihisa. She could not ask for help, nobody helped her. If she lived that life for years, and that's... If you want to talk about rights, you had to have every right. See, this is actually what I like about this plot. It's like the only revenge plot I've ever seen where, like, you sure got a lot of innocent people caught up in your revenge plot, but also, you know what? You're kind of right. You know what? It's fine. Kind of justified. 2BH. I can only imagine what happened to you, but you only can hold nothing but a grudge against the Tono family. I know that I'm just sounding clever, but I say those unsatisfactory lies. No, I didn't have a grudge against Makihisa-sama or Akiya-sama at all. So what I did wasn't revenge. I just thought that was what a human would have done. Only for my sake, I put Makihisa-sama and Shiki-sama in a trap and tried to get Akiya-sama dead too. That was all I had. There really weren't any feelings behind it. Her smile does not fade. That's a lie. If that's true, then I would have hated her from the bottom of my heart. No, that's wrong. Kohaku-san, you just want to think that. If that was true, then why did you protect Akiya? Kohaku-san, you had emotions. You liked Akiya, so you destroyed your own plan yourself. For just an instant, she lowers her glance just a little bit and smiles again. That's right. I destroyed my own plan. Really, Shiki-sama should have killed me back then. I made it so that only one of us would stay alive after that. Why did we both end up surviving? She seemed troubled as she says this, and her smile returns. That's simple. It's because you wanted Akiya to live, and you wanted to stay alive too. Then everything's alright. Even though you planned it all, I'm happy. Akiya's still alive, and you're still alive. That makes me really happy. Is that not enough for you, Kohaku-san? Tears come out as I say so. I can't stop my feelings, which are more full of regret than pity. I already understand that this person will not return. Since then, from the time she protected Akiya, she became broken and couldn't come back. I understand that too well. Shiki-san, are you crying? That's stupid, crying over a doll in a play that broke. Yes, it really is stupid. Hey, Shiki-san. I said that I didn't hate anyone, but there is one person I hated. You understand, right? I think I hated you. Because if you weren't there, I could have just stared out the window without even thinking. Smiling, she turns away. Her sleeves flutter like butterfly wings. Her legs want to dash forward, but I can't move. Even one step. I feel that if I move one step towards her, something will happen that I can't take back. You are the only one I hated. Everyone else I neither liked nor hated. I lost those emotions. So, saving Akiya-sama was only an accident. Her figure starts to become hazy. Kohaku-san, I have a bad feeling about this. Yeah, this doesn't seem like a good ending either. I mean, nothing about this ending with Kohaku can feel like a good ending, I guess. I can't place it, but I have a terrible feeling. Then, Nei-san! A voice calling for her echoes through the air. Hisui? Hisui-chan? Our voices overlap. Gasping for breath, Hisui looks directly at her. Hisui-chan, why? Her voice is shaking. Taking it, she looks sharply at her. Lies. With a short, strong voice, Hisui says so. Everything you say are lies, Nei-san. You saved Akiya-sama back then because you like her, and I know you can't hate Shiki-sama. I hear a sharp gasp. Still turned around, she looks extremely frightened. Is that not right? You played my role, so you cannot hate Shiki-sama. You played the role of Hisui from back then, so you loved Shiki-sama and tried to protect Akiya-sama. You are not an empty human like you think you are. Hisui's voice hangs in the air. Kohaku doesn't turn back and just answers, no. Geez, if you had never slept in the city room, then Hisui-chan never would have noticed us. Shiki-san, you really do throw all my plans into disarray. Still facing the other way, she laughs. She holds up a finger to her mouth. Gulp. I hear the sound of something being swallowed. Oh, that's not good. I run, but I don't make it in time. Before I can reach her, she collapses to the ground, coughing up blood. Thud. A hard, sickening noise. Still smiling, she drips red blood from her mouth. Nei-san! Hisui holds her. But that, no matter who looks at it, it is already too late. No, Nei-san! 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 Cradling the unmoving girl's head, Hisui frantically calls out. This doesn't seem like a good ending at all. What the hell? It seems her feelings overflow like the blood pouring from Kohaku's mouth. No, well, I mean, Kohaku still died in the other ending, but Hisui wasn't there. She stabbed herself. Her mouth opens and closes over and over. Yeah, this feels like worse than, this feels like even meaner than the true ending, because Hisui is here to see it happen. Nei-san! Nei-san, hold on! A desperate cry. Seeing that, the girl smiles like a child. Huh? Don't do that, Hisui-chan. Crying like that. It feels like back then. What? Nei-san, why? Yeah, because if I don't do so, you won't be able to return to the way you were. Her words in pieces, and with glazed eyes, she speaks to Hisui. Nei-san. Hisui's face contorts in grief. Her tears flood her face. Why? That's fine. I was okay with the way I was. If you were happy, then I was happy. I was always protected by you, so I was always happy. Painfully, she swallows her last words. Why? You should have stayed like Hisui, Nei-san. Like Hisui, the one you admired long ago, so why are you returning it to me now? A tear falls. Maybe Hisui's tears caused that. She nods quietly. That's right. I really had fun. It was all just an act, but it was really fun, Hisui-chan. So I hoped, Hisui-chan, you were having fun, too. Her blood drips out. As she speaks, blood dribbles out of her mouth. Nei-san, hang on, Nei-san. This can't be. Why do you have to die, Nei-san? There is no reason for you to die, Nei-san. Hisui's voice can no longer reach her. Her chest rising and falling, she just looks up at the deep, deep blue sky. It's pretty. I could never go outside, but I always remembered the color of the sky. Nason? Nason! Just those little things were my days. Hisui-chan, Shiki-san, and Akiya-sama were there. And there was such a pretty sky overhead. Yeah, I can't remember it too well. Those fun things are starting to disappear. Her energy drains away. The remaining light in her eyes is disappearing. That, I could not let it be. I take out my knife. My glasses are already off. All that is left. Shiki-sama, what are... Hisui holds on to me. I'm going to save Kohaku-san. Please be quiet and trust me. I pull free and look at her body. Just like the time with Yumizuka. That time I found Yumizuka's polluted blood and killed it. Oh, okay. I guess this is a good ending. So I should be able to kill the poison she drank. Gah! The headache gets worse. It feels like someone is stabbing my skull with a knife. It's so bad I want to close my eyes. I guess looking at something wrong in someone else's body is difficult. The pain warns me that this is surpassing the limits of my ability. Ah! My breathing explodes into harsh gasping. Bubbles escape from my open mouth. My entire world is red. As if all my bodily fluids turned into poison, my body is burning from the inside. Yeah, but still. I stare at it, not caring if I go blind. My senses disassociate. My world becomes a white sheet. As the sound of my blood vessels burning away roars in my ears, I quickly, before I am unable to move, find the poison in her body and kill it. Yeah, this seems really high level for Shiki. He killed the evil vampire blood in him, that Yumizuka, but poison is a new one. The first scenery I've seen in a few days is the White Examination Room. All set. It seems like you are fine, Shiki-kun. I do not see any cloudiness, and your condition should not return. You can go back to your normal life now. The doctor continues scribbling away as he's done the past few days. His face, which I see for the first time, looks somewhat kind. Well then, take care. Yeah, but don't strain yourself for a while. You always seem to push yourself too hard. I understand. Thank you so much for your help. I bow with a heartfelt thanks. And I stand up from the chair. Well, I'm glad everybody's okay. I go out into the hallway. In the waiting room is Hisui. Not having seen her face in days, I wave to her excitedly. Hisui quickly runs to my side to support me. Well then, shall we go? We can meet Kohaku-san starting today, right? Hisui nods. Shiki-sama, is your body really okay? Hisui looks up at me full of worry. Hey, a doctor is a person who can't let unhealed people go free. If I get to leave the hospital, that means I'm fine. I'm used to being in hospitals, so trust me. Yes, that is why I worry. There never was an instance where you would come back from the hospital fully healed. Huh. Hisui really talks a lot now. Well, that's the truth, so I can't disagree. Anyway, I finally got those bandages off my eyes. I can see your face and my body is healed, so there's no more problems. Come on, let's go see Kohaku-san. Pulling Hisui, who's still wanting to say something, I walk towards Kohaku-san's room. After seeing me plunge my knife into Kohaku-san, Hisui panicked. But after seeing that Kohaku-san's body was not harmed, that her breathing returned after that, and seeing me collapsing, Hisui ran to save all of us, even though she was still in a panic. As a result, Kohaku-san was saved. I fell into a condition where my eyes would not function in addition to the decrease in my physical body strength. Well, I somehow understood that I went blind. When I stabbed my knife into her body, the only thing I was able to see were those lines. So when I was told I went blind, it didn't shock me that much. But then, my sight came back shortly after. Oh, how lucky. The examination revealed absolutely nothing wrong with my eyes, but only problems with my nerves. Rather than with my cut nerves connecting themselves, it seems like it's more that the nerves which were numb healed up. Yeah, you're not late for your eclipse, Kune. We're just finishing up the last good ending now, so you're just in time. It seems like my eyes will not go blind that easily. Or it might be that even if I do go blind, I'll still see those lines. Well, those are trivial matters. The important fact is that Kohaku-san and I were saved, but Kohaku-san wasn't fully saved. She was able to recover, but in turn she lost something. Shiki-sama? Yeah, go ahead. I think it's probably better if you went in first. After answering yes, she knocks on the door. A voice tells us to come in and we enter the room. Kohaku-san is the only one in the room. She sits up in bed and looks at Hisui and I. Kohaku-san isn't smiling. With uneasy eyes, she looks at her guests. May I please ask who you are? With those words, Hisui's shoulders shake a bit. We have come to see how you are doing. Please excuse us, Nei-san. Kohaku-san looks at Hisui with surprised eyes after she hears the word Nei-san. Hisui sits down next to Kohaku-san. I don't want to be in the way, so I sit down on a chair by the wall. Kohaku-san looks uneasily back and forth between Hisui's face and mine. I am sorry. It's a bit strange. I feel that I do know both of you, but I cannot remember either of you. Her voice sounds very apologetic. This isn't a joke or anything, and she really does mean those words. There is some problem with her memory. I think I was told so before by Hisui. Kohaku-san was no longer the Kohaku-san from before. No, that's not quite right. The system of the brain can be divided into 4 functions: recording, preserving, playback, and recognition. And it seems that Kohaku-san has something wrong with her preserving function. The doctor said that she could return to her normal lifestyle, but she can't remember most of her past. It isn't so much that she can't remember, rather it is more like she lost it. The preservation of her memories up until now, all that information was lost, so there is nothing to remember. So Kohaku-san cannot remember me or Hisui. Oh, I hate it when my hard drive gets corrupted. Having Kohaku-san return to the way she was before really is a hopeless dream. I don't know if it was the near fatal shock from the poison or if Kohaku-san closed it off herself. But I know that Kohaku-san has the body and heart she had before, but she has forgotten all about me, Hisui, and Akiha. Kohaku-san looks up at Hisui. Yes, Hisui answers, and Kohaku-san hesitantly starts to speak. Your face is the same as mine. Might I ask who you are? Hisui's body freezes, but that is just for an instant. With a light smile, Hisui holds Kohaku-san's hand. I am your little sister, Hisui. Hisui-chan? She manages to let this response out. That is probably the most cruel response she could have given. But Hisui still smiles gently and answers yes. I am so sorry. I do not remember anything about you, Hisui-chan, or that person over there. I'm a little scared. I don't remember anything about you, Hisui-chan. Maybe there must be something wrong with me. Downcast, Kohaku-san looks like a lost child. Her face clouds over and her eyes are uneasy. She is not like Kohaku-san. But still, Hisui grips her hand tightly. No, do not worry, Nei-san. No matter how uneasy you are, I will always be with you. Like how you always protected me, I will always protect you from now on, Nei-san. Kohaku-san's face is pure bewilderment. After looking at Hisui in surprise, Kohaku-san thanks her. Yes. Looking down in embarrassment, Hisui mumbles a response. Is there anything you need? Like something to eat or something you want? Kohaku-san says yes and nods with her eyes in response to Hisui's attempt to hide her shyness. There isn't anything I want to eat. There is something I want. Can I ask you? Kohaku-san does not look at just Hisui, but looks at me sitting by the wall too. Yes, what is it, Nei-san? I think I never liked the name Kohaku, so I want a new name. Name? I wonder why. Once she says that, only one name comes to me. That name has been discarded and only remains in memories. Shiki-sama. Hisui turns to me. Is she thinking of the same thing? She looks at me as if she wants confirmation. I nod in response. Hisui turns back to Kohaku-san and asks, how does the Naya sound? The Naya. Kohaku-san murmurs it as if testing the sound. Right after, she lifts her face up as if she remembered something. Yes, I think I like the sound of that. It seems awfully nostalgic for some reason. Saying that, she smiles. Her usual smile that blossoms like a rose. Finally, for the first time since she's awakened, she smiles happily. The two of them talking looks perfectly natural. Naturally, the two of them peacefully passed the time as sisters. I don't know if her losing her memory was good or bad. Since all of her memories were painful, maybe it was a good thing that it happened. Because from now on, there will be nothing but happiness. Forgetting all the sorrowful incidents, she can earn a normal happiness. But, looking at this blue sky, I just can't help but think back. That young girl standing by the window. I know that the past for her is something to be forgotten about. But still, if I could, I wanted that Kohaku-san to become happy. But that is a wish that can no longer be granted. So I just have to end that wish right now. Underneath that longed-for blue sky, I imagine for the last time her carefree smile like a lingering flower. Shiki-sama, may I please have a moment? After we leave the hospital, Hisui suddenly asks me that question. Huh? Sure, what is it? Yes, we still have time, so there is somewhere I wish to go. Somewhere you wish to go? Not understanding, I tilt my head. Come on, let's go, Shiki-sama. Hisui pulls my hand forcefully and starts running. That's new. That's new for her. She takes me to a grassy plain outside of the city. Autumn is ending and the sky is deep. The wind that blows through the flowers and onto our faces seems to blow through our hearts. Hisui, why did you want me to come here? Who knows? To be honest, there really isn't a reason. It's just that when we were coming to the hospital, I saw this field from the train. Hisui says this trivially as she stands by my side. I don't get it. This is a nice place, but it doesn't seem that special. If you wanted to play, we should go to another. No, this is the right place to visit. I wanted to come not somewhere in the city, but somewhere quiet and beautiful, and it makes me feel positive. A place where you could return to your usual self. With a light smile, she looks up at me. My usual self? Hisui? Yes. Well, when you were in the hospital room, you looked so depressed. I understand how you feel, and I'm glad you feel that way. But that is not what Nei-san wanted. Hisui reaches out. She lightly places her hands on mine. Is that not right? I think it is better if you cheer up. Hey, Shiki-sama. You may not have realized it, but you smell like sunshine. That is the Shiki-sama that I like, and will always like. Her eyes look at me directly. Those eyes are really kind and optimistic. Hisui's the one that smells like sunshine. 8 years ago, it feels like we returned to that time when Aki and I and her world ran around the garden. Really, I think I'm the gloomy one if you ask me. You are just someone who does not start conversation that much. But to me, no. To us, you are like this open field. Her fingers move. I feel her squeeze me tighter. So there, please don't make that face, Shiki-sama. Akiya-sama was saved, and even Nei-san was saved. There is no reason for you to be sad. Nei-san is still alive. Then I am sure she will return to the way she was someday, and even if not, I will make her many times happier. You do not have time to be sad, because we have to help Nei-san and Akiya-sama be happier from now on. What she's saying is fairly preposterous, so I wonder why. After hearing those words, I feel a ray of light shining into my gloomy heart. That's right. I'm her big brother, so it's only natural to do such a thing. Hisui nods. Yeah, it might be hard, but we have to do it, because I want them to be happy too. Yes, I know you can do it. Nodding strangely, she holds my hand against her chest. I can feel her heartbeat. The delicate warmth of her body serenely blows like the wind through the grass into my own heart. Besides, if you do not cheer up, I would be very troubled. Why? I ask. Hisui's cheeks flush, but she still looks directly at me. You are the only one who can make me happy. I want to always be near your side, always be near your sunshine. She stands on her tiptoes to kiss me. Oh, that's cute. The sky is high. Underneath that sky, where there is no sadness, I receive the warmth of the one I love the most. From the field is the gentle smell of the sunshine. Yeah, Hisui's words are exactly right. We lost a lot, but we haven't lost everything. The days will still go on into the future. Then we have to go on and try our best to make everyone live happily. Thanks, Hisui. Holding her delicate body, I close my eyes. Tears flow down my cheeks, but there is no sadness. Life itself is fun enough. I've known that for a long time. Then, holding Hisui's hand, I'll walk on and have no regrets. That's the end of the good ending for Hisui's route. A little more extensive than the other ones. I like that one, though. Like I said, for the most parts, except for Akia's, which are named differently, they're called the normal endings. The good endings feel a lot more wish fulfillment-y than the true endings, which I think that's why they're called that, where, like, even though Kohaku loses her memory in Hisui's route, it's like, well, at least she's still alive. Which is not the case in the true ending. And Kohaku only has one ending. She doesn't have a good ending. She just has her true ending. Which is actually pretty optimistic, all things considered, because everybody survives in that one, so... I guess you could say, like... It's more like Kohaku's route is the better ending for Hisui's route. Because you can only play Kohaku's route after getting them all. I think, at least. But yeah, those good endings were pretty interesting. I think my favorite is Seals, just because of how funny it is. A very Evangelion episode 25 type beat. Now we can check out the true ending, or whatever you would call Eclipse. Does Seal have anything unique to say here? You have reached Hisui's good ending. Well done. Each heroine, with one exception, has two different kinds of endings. A true ending and a good ending. Since you can't reach Hisui-san's good ending without seeing the true ending, you have now finished Hisui-san's route completely. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Well then, thank you very much for playing up to this point. Let's meet again, somewhere in Tsukihime. Ciel-san, I also have something I must impart. Oh wait, no, I thought that was Ark. Wait, it's Professor Roa? This is rare indeed for you to come to a place like this. Hello? Huh? What? This circumstance is unique. I will get to the point right away. Now that you have cleared Hisui-san's route, there should be another choice for you on the first day. This is the unlocking of the last route in Tsukihime. Well, even if I do not tell you this, it is very clear if you go to the graphic mode. That's right. Well then, please continue on and enjoy Tsukihime. Alright, thanks, Roa? I guess that's how he tells you that you've unlocked Kohaku's route. But you can see it here, we've got Eclipse unlocked. Thanks, Roa. Good, cool guy Roa telling you to go experience the tragedy of Kohaku. But at least she becomes our sunflower girl at the end. What did he mean by the graphic mode? Oh, I see. It unlocks Kohaku. It was only these four at first. But Kohaku appears in the graphic mode once she's available. CL Sensei classroom is purgatory? That explains why Roa is there, I guess. Alright. So we've got all of the endings. What is Hisui's called? Dreams of Sunshine. Tsukihime. Hey, it's the title of the game. Moon at Dawn. Daylight Blue. Sun. Warm Afternoon Nap. Distant Reed Warbler. Midday Moon. Dreams of Sunshine. And Dreams of Sunshine, all caps, which is Kohaku's true ending. Some bad ends even include Nero. That's funny. Anyways, let's start Eclipse. I'm very curious to see what this will be. Suddenly, I wake up. A vast night. In the midst of a grassy field that extends as far as the eye can see, I stare blankly at the moon. There is no one else here. Whatever I do, do not click on the copyright in the main menu. I never thought to do that. I didn't know it did anything. There is no one else here. No signs of human presence, no sounds from any animals. Maybe it's because I pushed myself too hard these past couple of days. I just wanted to lie down quietly and be alone, but it seems I fell asleep. It was a bright darkness, probably because the moon is hanging so low. The grassy field that looked like a black sea last night is bright, like some sort of a stage. A clearing illuminated by sharp, sharp moonlight. I thought it was like a theater somewhere. Only there are no curtains around. This field that sweeps far and wide is devoid of any curtains or trees, nor is there an audience or stage crew. There's nothing here. The only thing here are the moonlight and the white darkness. The wind does not blow and the grass does not even sway. How quiet. I laugh quietly, as it feels like all the commotion until yesterday was just a joke. No, if you talk about jokes, then my life until now was so happy that, looking back at it, it seems like it was just an illusion. A lot of things have happened. There were a lot of amazing things that occurred, and my life changed pace quite often. The expected and the unexpected. Everything was illusory. Looking back, it seems that no matter how trivial things seemed, all those coincidences built on each other. The days were only a repetition of each other, but no 2 days were quite the same. Then that means, perhaps each and every one of them was an irreplaceable moment I can never return to. I recall many things that happened. The memories are so nostalgic, it makes me smile. Just the thought of the new experiences awaiting me in the future, different from those of my past, makes me dizzy. Truly a mix of emotions. Happiness, excitement, and enough worries to give me a headache. Thump. My heart beats loudly once. What comes after is my usual anemia. The dizziness continues for a while, but eventually disappears. Even though the wound on my chest healed, my anemia didn't go away. It seems like my fragile health wasn't caused by the wound on my chest alone. Well, of course. Being able to perceive the shape of death means I stand much closer to death than others. To be honest, I never thought about living a long life like ordinary people. Thump. The sound of my heart beating. It's not like me to think of this, but I wonder just how long I can keep running through time. The conclusion is rather uninteresting, because even if it stops tomorrow or in a few decades, still, hey you, it's dangerous just lying around like that. And I hear a familiar voice. Oh, it's her, isn't it? Bringing it all the way back? It sure is. Huh? What do you mean, You have an awful lot of free time on your hands if you can just sleep around here in the middle of the night. Was this close? I was this close to kicking you, so you better watch out. She says this grumpily while carrying a trunk in one hand. Oh? Kicked? And by who? I lift myself up. Isn't it obvious, stupid? You and I are the only ones here, so who else could it be but me? She declares this confidently as she folds her arms. Ha! Stifling the laughter spilling out of me, I gaze up at her and the moon. I can't believe it. I somehow felt that I'd meet you, but I didn't think that that day would be today. What a coincidence. I didn't expect to see you here either. I heard you were here, but we never did meet up, did we? So I was thinking that it was our fate this time not to meet. Although, we did see each other, it would have caused trouble, right? Right. I am a member of the association, after all. We're not quite on good terms with the church. Oh, you know what? That makes sense. She laughs without any hint of guilt. It really is hard holding back my laughter. It makes me happy that this person hasn't changed one bit since that day we met. And, since I ran out of things to do, I was going to leave here tomorrow. See, this incident was partially my fault, you know? So I stopped by here for a final check, and I almost ended up kicking some ordinary person. Then we were fated to meet. To be honest, I felt we would meet up again. I smile. You're right. I welcome this sort of fate. She flashes me an identical smile in return. Long time no see. You've grown up, Cheeky. Yes, you seem to be doing well too, Sensei. Returning her plain greeting, I look back at Sensei with serious eyes. We sit in the field of grass and talk. We talk about senseless things, just like the old days. It was only briefly that we talked about what had happened and what we were going to do in the future. It's about time. I don't plan on staying here long. I'm leaving before dawn, so we'll have to part here. Saying that, Sensei stands up. I try to stand up with her, but I collapse. Shiki, I can hear her voice. I take a few deep breaths and stand back up. Dang. Seems like no sleep or rest until last night just hit me. Yeah, that makes sense. You've been going pretty hard on every route. Looks like it. That dizziness is your biggest weakness. You don't look like you have any injuries. Is your body alright? Yeah, thanks. Unlike you, I have a normal body. If you say so. She glances at me meaningfully, then looks directly into my eyes. Shiki, you know you're not going to last much longer. Her clear words. I'm surprised. It's not that I'm surprised by her words, but rather, I never thought she would say them. Well, yeah, I kind of know about it already. Is that so? But you seem pretty calm. Even now, you strain your body over something that has nothing to do with you. I would have a hard time believing it, but are you really not afraid of dying? She stares at me, somewhat peeved. No way. I think I'm more afraid of death than most people. But that's something in the future. It may be tomorrow or next year, but I can't think about the future too much. I prioritize what I want to be doing now. I see. So you can see your own death as well. That's why you're more afraid of death than others. That makes sense. Even for me, I'd be shivering if I could see the 13 steps to the gallows. No, it's not like that. 13 steps to the gallows is a really good expression, by the way. I like that. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to fly around the screen for a second. No, it's not like that. It's not like I can clearly sense when I'll die. It's almost the same thing. Let's see, can I ask you something for reference? You ended up with a body weaker than those of others. It would only be natural to curse it and fear your life. Hey, Shiki, don't you find it difficult living with such a body? Sensei looks at me, openly, yet with unreadable eyes. Those are the eyes of a magus, her side of which I am not familiar with. Isn't that right? You can no longer have normal happiness like everyone else. As long as you have that body of yours, all that awaits is suffering. That may be so, but I think it's not that bad. But I'm probably happy, because up until now was a lot of fun. So it'll probably be fun in the future, too. The sound of her gasping. With a large sigh, she changes back to her usual self. Shiki, she seems sad as she calls my name. To be honest, I do feel some regret. I feel like I said something to you that I shouldn't have back then. I look straight into her eyes. It's different from before. Back then, I had to look up to see her eyes, but now, she is looking up into mine. God doesn't give excessive power without reason, and I told you that if you have that power, there has to be some meaning to it. But, you know, it's up to the individual to decide what that meaning may be. There's no room for anyone else, especially something as ambiguous as a god, to interfere. So it would have been alright if you did nothing. Even if you denied those eyes of yours and did nothing, it still would have been alright. I'm regretting my words because you could have led a normal life more suitable for you, as Shiki. Sensei, didn't I tell you earlier that you should live your life with an honest heart? You really did, Shiki. But that's something difficult to do. It would have been easier for you to stray from your path a little, because your eyes draw you to disaster. Isn't it ironic that a killer more skilled than anyone else also hates killing more than anyone else? If you lived a normal life, or had your heart deviated from the true path, you wouldn't have had to go through so much pain. Yeah, that may be true now that you mention it. If I gave up, it may have been a little easier. But that has no meaning. It would have only made things a little easier, and to start out with, I never thought of it as particularly painful. You have the wrong idea, Sensei. Everything I did because I wanted to. It's not like I'm a saint or anything. I like myself just the way I am. That's why I was glad that you told me back then to become an adult by just living the way I was. Sensei, I don't regret anything, so there's no reason for you to regret anything either. I really feel that from the bottom of my heart, and I smile at her. This is good. I like this. As if dazzled by a radiant light, she narrows her eyes and closes them briefly. I see. Man, it seems you really have become a wonderful young fellow. Her hand reaches for her trunk. Yeah, you're just fine the way you are, Shiki. Oh, I think I heard about her skit about this in Carnival Phantasm, where she's like, I was actually raising you. I encourage you to be my husband, Shiki. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you're fine just the way you are, Shiki. My world is full of devious individuals, so associating with someone like you balances things out. It might be hard on you, but if you don't mind, then I guess it's alright. With a see you, Sensei turns her back to me. Yeah, the Genji plan. I can't stop her, and there's no reason to. I can feel that this is really the last time. All I can remember is the one thing I forgot to say. That day, in an ocean of grass, an important friend who had spoken with me who was about to disappear. There's no wind, the grass does not sway, and the only thing that changes is her figure, which gets farther away. She didn't turn around suddenly back then, and she won't now. Sensei! I call out to stop her. She halts in her tracks. What? She doesn't turn around. Only her voice drifts to me. I know what I must say. The words I've always wanted to say. It's just that if I say these words, I really won't be able to see her ever again. But still, I have to say them. She told me, all I'm saying is live true to yourself and become a man in the manner that you think is right. She also taught me that it is important to accept my mistakes and to be able to apologize for them. That's why I have to say it. Thank you. I'm glad I met you, Sensei. That's what I felt as a child. Those words were the ones from the bottom of my heart that I once could not say because I was filled with the sadness of parting. Yeah, I also like how this epilogue fits with any and all of the endings. The true endings, anyway. From behind, it seems Sensei is surprised. She stands there, lowers her head, and turns toward me with her usual expression. Oh, the Alco CG. I like Alco a lot. I'm really excited for either the anime, that UFO table, or for the people working on the fan translation to finish the visual novel, because I think Alco is just a really interesting character. Take care, Shiki. Let's meet again if we are fated to do so. She says this as if it was nothing, and the wind suddenly gusts. Swoosh! It rustles through the swaying grass, and the moon's light disappears. After that, as if abducted by the wind, she disappears. Yeah, Mahoyo is all about Aoko. She's really cool. For some strange reason, I'm not shedding any tears. I feel sad, and I don't want to part. But not shedding tears also means that I've grown up since then. The grassy field becomes silent once more. Gazing up, it looks like the moon is about to vanish from the sky. All things pass by, just like the moon disappearing. And yet, after a long time, there may be the chance to meet again. And so, tonight's moon disappears. Well then, I close my eyes just once, as if lowering the curtains. In the sky, dawn is drawing closer. Just like the moon that has just fallen, for the time being, the curtains are lowered on the long story for Tono Shiki. The heavens soar high above. I look up while embraced by the clear, brisk night air. All things are uncertain, just like a waking dream. The past is all an illusion. It doesn't leave behind a tangible form, and even the most vivid of memories are really just transient. Yet, I believe that the moon's image will never fade away. Even that is fragile. Even though I know it will end one day, I don't care. The memories continue on. I'm sure that even the end will be a happy one. The lunar eclipse is far away. Everyone races through the remaining time and passes on. Finn. I really like that ending. It it really sums up what this story is about, you know? And yeah, you make a good point, Kune Kune. It really, kind of brings the story full circle, uh, and kind of just makes it contained within itself, regardless of any sequels or spin-offs like Getsu Toya or Melty Blood. And I love Melty Blood. And I'm sure I've never studied its story very much because I didn't have the context of Tsukihime, but and I'm sure its story is quite fun. But I do really like this as just a contained thing. I think it's really sweet in a lot of parts. I guess this is a good time as any to kind of give my what you might call it a mini review, my thoughts. I think Tsukihime has a lot of interesting stuff going for it. I think it's got a lot of cool ideas and story about these sort of ideas about identity, like who you really are. You know, do are you defined by your memories or your family, your blood family or the family that adopted you? Um, this is a clear through line even with the villain with Roa slash all cap Shiki, who is like he changes depending on the side of the story you're on. He's defined by one thing or another, either it's Arquid or the Tono family, and he's someone who can't define himself. I think that's really interesting. I think this story has a lot of interesting things going for it along those lines. It's just it's kind of a frustrating story too, though, because I feel like it as it's going for those things, it kind of shoots itself in the foot a lot because you get things like it tries to tie into those themes of identity and a sense of self, how things like sexual assault, to get really serious about it, like the can take away that sense of self, and then you get like an eroge scene that's also an assault scene, like right in the midst of that, and it's like shooting itself in the foot. And as many people have told me over the course of my reading this, I understand why these sorts of scenes are there. The eroge scenes. You've got to sell this to freaks at Comic Hit. I understand, especially for like the first work of a couple of not wealthy artists, right? Like visual novels existed before Tsukihime. They were, you got stuff like Konami made a bunch of visual novels, but I think Tsukihime and Type Moon really set this I'm not an expert in the genre, the history of the genre, so I could just be wrong, but it really feels like a lot of things go back to Tsukihime, where it set this precedent for like just a couple of dudes doing it on their own, right? And so I get it. You have to sell the CDs to the freaks at Comic Hit who are into that sort of things. Um and I get it. I get it. A lot of people talked about that, but I think what's important to understand that is that as the artist and the writer in charge of this story, you're also in charge of where and when those scenes take place. And a lot of these scenes are just placed at the worst possible spots. Like I'm especially thinking of that one in the Hisui route, where she's like, we're getting into her and Kohaku's backstory, and it's like, oh, you can choose to have a sexual assault scene right there, and I'm like, what? Why would you put that there? That's my problem with this story, is that it feels like as it's going through these really fascinating, really depthful themes, it shoots itself in the foot. Aki's route, also a great example of this, where it's like, dude, why did you have to do the incest thing? you know So it's really unfortunate in that way, but I still really liked parts of it. I still really liked a lot of it it's going for. And, a lot of people told me this sort of stuff gets toned down and gets better in later Type Moon work, so I'm not deterred at all from reading those. I'm interested in reading Fate Stay Night and Mahoyo and whatever else I can get my hands on. I'm gonna watch the Kara no Kyokai films after this. That's probably the next Type Moon thing I'll watch, because I think that looks really interesting. And yes, I am definitely interested in the remake. Um, I like the characters a lot as well. I like most of the characters. I don't like Akia. I'm sorry, I don't. But I mean, I like most of them. And there is one more thing I want to do that I thought would be funny. Okay. All right. I don't know if Kara no Kyoke makes good movie night material based on just what I know. Maybe though. Oh, there it is. Nope, that's the wrong one. Why is this so big? Okay, that should be good. Okay. No, that's wrong. Okay. I have so many layers in OBS, I'm sorry. Let's this is a visual novel with girls in it, so let's rate the girls. Okay. So I think this one's pretty easy for me. I'm gonna go through it real quick. I did say many times ago I would not stream a tier list, but I thought this would be too funny. So, this is easy. This is easy for me. I have many thoughts on the women of Tsukihime. Yumizuka, unlike Akia, doesn't overstay her welcome. Who's that on Anaya's left? I don't know. I think that's from I think this is including people from the sequel. So I don't know. Yeah, these are from Kagetsu. So I can't rate them. Okay, there we go. That's a good list. Wait, I'm sorry. I forgot one more. How do I add one? How do I add one? I can add one. There we go. Okay. There we go. Perfect. That's the perfect Tsukihime character list. Elaborate on Aoko. I just think she's really cool. That's literally it. I've said it before. I'm not interested in the Tsukihime remake unless it has an Arihiku route. I think there's a lot of unexplored potential there. Anyways, that's the girl power ranking of Tsukihime. Sorry to anybody who likes Akia. Actually, I'm not sorry. You're all going to hell if you like Akia. Anyways, that is all of Tsukihime. I can't believe it. A journey that began in October has now been completed. and I am glad I went through all of it. I am very glad. It was nice. It was fun. I am glad I got to experience it. So just, remember, we are. If you want to see me experience something perhaps even more unhinged, the Yumi Neko question arc's goal is ongoing and will continue to go ongoing until we meet it. But as for the next visual novel, until we meet that goal, it'll probably be Great Ace Attorney 2, because I never got around to that. But we're going to take a break between visual novels for a little bit, until at least all these new releases get cleared up, because we still got to finish Elden Ring, and that new Final Fantasy game comes out next week, so that's also going to be taking a lot of time. So I am happy to take a break from a long visual novel for the time being. I'm gonna raid Gyaru Garo. Speaking of visual novels, she's playing Tokimeki Memorial. So be sure to give her the rabbit raid. Like this. Just say that and use whatever emote you want, okay? I'm commanding you as the princess. I hope you all enjoyed the Tsukihime journey with me. It was quite fun. I really liked it. So, good night, everybody.